This is the Infinite Podcast with me, Ulf Tønderflittig.
And me, Øystein Rabbe.
We seek to boldly go into the unknown of the outsides and the insides to find the truth about ourselves.
And that's quite exciting.
It is. What are we going to do with all this information?
We are going to talk about it, share it here, and we're going to live it.
Yeah.
We are living it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Share it with you listeners.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, eh? So this episode we talk about Øystein's upcoming book called Finding Malibu, which he will finish writing in California.
Yeah.
Øystein shares some good insights and experiences from his journey along the way to finding out he wants to write a book, and I think
and the book it's a book where I share my journey and this whole thing about one thing is what we call going through an awakening process, but to put it in other words, the way I'm talking about it in the book is to realize that there is a story that is your story. It's an experience that is unique to you, and you can see that there is something wanting to unfold within you. That's really magical.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a magical book, and I so look forward to reading it, and I so look forward to sharing this episode with you guys.
Yeah,
so
me too.
Enjoy. Øystein.
Yes.
Are you going to California?
Yes, I am.
The day after tomorrow?
Yes.
Damn!
Back to California.
Back to California.
It's about time.
Why are you going to California?
I'm writing a book.
You're writing a book?
Yeah.
I know this.
Yeah,
it's just
I know.
acting surprised.
It's it's one of the most exciting things I'm doing right now. Have I mentioned this in our English podcast before? Or?
Well, you can mention it again if you have. That's okay.
Yeah.
People need reminding. That's fine.
I don't know why yet, but the book is called Finding Malibu. And I'm going back to California this time to, I guess, find Malibu. But I'm not sure what that entails in terms of the deeper aspect of it, the journey and the inner journey of it. I was in California. I've been in California actually many times, probably 6 or 7 times. This time, it feels like a completion of something I started in 2015 when I was going there, following my inner compass that was leading me there. It was, my whole awakening to realize who I am, that there is more to life, and that there is actually a story or an experience unfolding within me. All this process was in the beginning, especially for me, about realizing that I have an intuition, and I have an inner guidance system. I have a compass that is going to lead me towards life, towards my own adventure. That there's an adventure that is only my experience. It's not about following some outer ideal or standard or idea of success or happiness. It's about realizing what is my experience of life and follow the inner guidance that I get. So when this started in my experience, I had been successful in terms of business, in terms of building a company, in terms of actually realizing my childhood dream, which was to work with television and film. I made it all, but it wasn't enough because it didn't lead to anything. It led to building a castle that was empty on the inside. And I focused a long time to make the castle look better on the outside. But it kind of broke down when I realized there is nothing inside of the castle. There is nothing, no matter how hard I try, it doesn't help to make the castle look better. I need to figure out who I am without the castle. So my realization when I ended my business was that, wow, I've been doing all this hard work to prove to the world or to someone that I can be good enough.
To yourself, perhaps.
Yeah. And then when I realized that I have no fucking idea who I am without my like TV Øystein personality, my career personality, because that was my whole life. I didn't have a life except from work. I saw it so clear that, wow, I need to figure out who am I. And that's when the journey started. And I was, after that, spending a lot of time not knowing what to do, also dealing with a lot of things that had to do with being okay with not knowing and being okay with not doing anything, and still don't feel like I was miserable or not useful for anything. That was an intense process to go through. Allowing myself to be someone who didn't have success in the outer ways and still be feeling like I had value. Because my whole value system was built around success and hard work. So in that journey that started after that, I had spent a lot of time on outer qualities, building success, building all these outer things to reach somewhere. But that breaking point led to the inner journey really starting to unfold. And a huge part of that was realizing that there is something called intuition. There is an inner guidance system. There is a compass. There is a GPS. And when I start following it, it actually unfolds a journey and a story that is my story, not the collective story or the story of someone successful I can read about in a book.
It's your truth, not just like an outer idea that you can sort of, as you said, television Øystein was pushing towards this goal and creating this castle of his with nothing inside of it, because it was just based on what the exteriors of Øystein, what society seemed to want Øystein to be.
Yeah.
And then realizing that there is something else, something way more powerful and bigger that you are carrying inside. And if you follow that thing, call it intuition, your inner guidance system.
Yeah. That's when the magic begins, because then your experiences actually start meaning something.
Because then they're related to what you actually want to do on this planet, not just what you think other people want you to do on this earth.
Yeah.
Yeah? That makes sense.
But I didn't realize that when I was trying to live up to the ideas, I didn't realize those ideas wasn't mine. I thought it was that I wanted this.
Yeah, I can totally relate, because my whole life I also thought that what other people wanted was what I wanted.
Yeah.
And then following a similar path, I also came to the point where I'd succeeded in the goals that I thought was the goals to succeed in, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
I guess I like Jim Carrey's sort of quote about wishing everyone would get all their dreams to come true, or like their financial, for instance, dreams, just to see that there is nothing there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Because you're sort of pushing for these ideals, right? So I want the perfect job, and I want the perfect house, and the perfect car, and the perfect speedboat, and none of these things truly, really ever matter.
Yeah.
I do have to say that creating a family is something, does dip into something profoundly bigger,
Yeah.
because that's totally different. Even though I know, like, that would be a society goal, right?
Yeah.
To have a family, I'd say that's, from as far as I can tell, the only grounded thing that we are left with, because all the other objectives of life are distractions.
Yeah.
They're not taking us anywhere other than away from ourselves. And typically we create a family and then we're annoyed that that they're getting in the way of these other goals, right? Because how do I combine my career with family? Oh shit, family comes in the way. Okay, so I'll outsource family and then continue on my work path, because that's where I'll be happy. Because it's also important to remember that the personal stuff, that's where the learning is.
Yeah.
That's the tough stuff, right? Like, going to work is fairly uncomplicated because you just have to solve, well, problems that are not personal. But when you get home, well, you have to actually, that's you in there. So I think that's why it's like relationships, friendships, family, that's where our learning really happens.
Definitely.
Because what we do at work is well, it's just putting on this facade, as you said. You're just building your castle and it looks great. There's nothing inside.
Yeah.
Empty space.
And it's interesting because now I'm talking about the beginning of the journey, at least in a conscious journey, you know, like this was the beginning for me to consciously start realizing who I am. And it has been intense and difficult, but also very, very beautiful path. Kind of getting away from, it felt, the old things, like the things that didn't work, that the society rules, the ideas about success, about business, also about relationships and family and all these things. But it just reminded me when you said that after being on that intense journey, I came to eventually a point where I reached a new level or a new state of being where I didn't have to work that hard anymore to dig down into my difficult past or difficult traumas or things that needed to be integrated and healed in me. So I came to a point in, I think, beginning of 2017, like 2 years ago, where I just could enjoy, and finally I can just enjoy life. That was my wow. And then it came to me an insight that I remember someone else had told me earlier in life. And that's the insight that, I've been on this journey trying to work myself away from all these stuff that doesn't matter, you know, or trying to reach this huge realizations, or both in a spiritual way, but also in a successful way. And I hate to admit it. That's the quote from this other person said it. Like, I had to admit it, but still, at the end of the day, it's the basic, like, human things, like having a family, having a good relationship, being with people that matters to me. Those are things that actually, in the end, was the only thing that I really cared about. And that's kind of, it's interesting in the whole picture of things, that it always comes back to this simple things. That there are the things that actually matters. But
it's weird, right?
yeah,
It's so banal and like simple. It's spending time with people you care about. That's where their life is.
Yeah. But still it's true, that like I'm talking about now, when I started talking about the story of realizing that I'm more than this castle I'm building, that there's actually something inside I need to figure out. It's still that thing that you can't have, a deeper relationship with someone else than you have with yourself. So if you don't have a relationship with yourself, how can you have it with someone else? But also, how can you expect someone else to be able to have it with you, in a sense, if you are not willing to meet up?
Yeah, if you're incapable of spending time with yourself, why would anyone else want to?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So in this story that I started talking about this, I came to a point where I got real curious to, okay, what happens if I actually start listening? If I start to take one step into the unknown towards where my intuition leads me. And it invited me into completely new experiences. And I started getting this pulled into different things, which also led me to traveling more, like spontaneous travels, like to other places in Norway, but also outside of the border. And when I went to California in 2015, I went alone, just following my intuition that led me there. I was at a workshop in Norway where we worked on, it was actually healing, learning how to work with healing, but it was also very much about this intuition, how to read the signs and learn your own signals, so to speak. So I was going through this whole thing, and at the same time I was spending a lot of time watching different video courses, and I was watching a course with a guy called Drunvalo, talking about different aspects of spirituality, and he was mentioning one person, a healer that was located in Los Angeles. I don't remember his name right now. But as I was watching, I just felt it like, okay, I actually need to go see this guy. And I was like, wow, California is far away. Even I had been there before. It wasn't that scary in that sense, that it wasn't a completely new place or anything, but it was a huge realization that I had to go and just know. It was a deep knowing. It wasn't a question. It was a knowing. And then I used some of the techniques that I learned at this workshop to ask, okay, so when am I going to go? And I got instant answer from myself, like, okay, February 2nd to March 18th. It was just, okay, that's it. So when am I going to see this healer then? February 14th. Okay. And I went into his website to see if it was available that day, and it was. And then I just booked the tickets, and it was just, okay, that's it. So, and that's those 6 weeks spending time in California, mostly alone, has been one of the deepest journeys I've attending in a way, or because I thought it was going to be an outward experience. Finally, I'm free of all this old baggage. I used to be so socially awkward and uncomfortable. Now I'm finally going to go there and meet lots of amazing, cool people and I'm going to be free. And I'm going to make all these videos as well. I actually had like this idea that I was finally going to do YouTube videos and talking and
you were
all
really
these
going to
things.
blossom.
Yeah. And what's happened the last couple of weeks before I went is like my camera broke down, and I had 2 cameras that broke down. And it was some other things happening as well that I don't remember right now. But I just remember I had to go through the realization that, okay, this trip is not going to be anything of what I expected. I just had to be open, and I have to let go of any idea of hurry to get the kind of success, because the success mindset, was still there. Like, even though I was going into spirituality,
you wanted to be a successful spiritual
I still wanted to be successful. So it was also part of the journey to realize that I just have to let go of everything, and see what happens.
It's interesting, the fact that, when unforeseen events happen, like your camera, which you plan to make YouTube videos with, breaks down.
Yeah.
You typically see it as sort of like an unfortunate event that sabotages your plan.
Yeah.
But it's dawned on me recently that is never the case. When these things happen, they happen for a reason, and that reason is to help you find your path.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when you're going astray, like when you're derailing from your path or from your intuition, universe will help you correct.
Yeah, it's like a self-correcting system.
It's a self-correcting, self-sustainable system.
Yeah.
This life protects life.
Yeah.
And recently I had my car in for a checkup, and it turns out that there was a lot of things wrong with the car, and it's so expensive to repair it. It costs more than the car itself.
Yeah.
Now this is horrible, but I don't really need a car. And we typically tend to look at these events as, well, things that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Now, like the universe is against me. Why? Why do we always draw that conclusion? It seems so weird.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
Now, if you can, and I promise you, your life will become like so different the moment you realize that the things happening are gifts. They're not curses.
Yeah.
And it could be horrible things. It could be death, violence, horror, like the worst thing you can imagine. But the moment you realize that these are not against you, but for you, everything shifts.
It does.
And you go from powerless to powerful.
Yeah.
And it's such a subtle distinction, but I remember distinctly most of my life, I would think that things happened to me. Oh, why did this happen? Why am I so unfortunate? Why am I followed with why does this keep on happening to me? And it's the universe trying desperately to tell me, lean right, not left. Yeah. Come on, son. And the harder you object to your path, well, the harder your knocks to sort of help you. Because everything, literally everything in the universe is here for you.
Yeah.
Now, this applies to everyone, and that says something about the magic of our wonderfully, infinitely beautiful universe. It's
true.
So I don't know, I can't even find the word, like elastic, so it'll form itself to fit everyone's needs. And it will help everyone always to find their path.
The difficult...
And the more people not wanting to follow their path, the weirder our world tends to get.
Yeah.
In terms of war and like
because that's also
mayhem.
important to take into consideration when you speak about it this way, is that realizing that also means that when you need to experience what's happening when you're not following your way, the universe is so perfect that it will completely provide that experience as well.
Yes.
Like, if you know you should take the right at what do you call it when a road divide into different directions?
Exactly. Call it a split.
Yeah.
When the road splits, at the juncture.
You drive at a road that is completely go completely straight line ahead, and you get the opportunity to take a right.
There's an exit.
Yeah, there's an exit.
A right exit. Yeah.
And you, if you were true to yourself, a good invitation would be to take the exits. But what you do is that you have the idea that the straight ahead is the way you should go. But what's happening when you do that is that your car actually still leans to the left, not to the right. So you end up struggling with the car constantly kind of hitting the
curb.
Yeah. And you drive like this. And you wonder why life is so hard.
Yeah, why is the car constantly dragging to the right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice picture of it. I like that.
Yeah. And I think that's how we often live our lives until we come to a point where it hurts so much that, okay, there must be something more than this, because this doesn't work very well.
You know, in Christianity and Judaism, you have Abraham, the founding father of the state of Israel, and his 7 sons. Now, Abraham means the man who wrestles with God.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about. Because what you're doing when you're rejecting what is you're wrestling with existence itself. See, I want to control it. I don't want to follow my inner guidance systems. I want to use the exterior world and guide through that.
Yeah.
Look at what my neighbor has. I want what he has.
Because somehow that seems safer.
Yeah.
Or more trustworthy. I mean, when you're looking at it from that perspective, in that limited view, it's like that makes sense because.
Yeah, because if you're looking out at the world, seemingly, so say you wanted to start a business, and you wanted to start a business because you saw someone else having a business and they seemed successful.
Yes.
They seemed happy. So if I start a business, I will be successful. I will be happy. What you didn't know is that their castle was empty as well.
Yeah, exactly. But and also that if the idea also can, and this is what I did, can also be motivated by you don't feel that you figure out how to be successful in an ordinary job. So your conclusion is that if I don't want to work too much. I want to be my own boss. I want to be free. I want to have my own castle because that's a good thing. And then that's the decision that drives the motivation that drives the decision to start a business in the first place. That you want to get away from something that you don't handle. So you try to just build your own castle because that's supposedly a better idea because it gives you freedom. But what happens with people doing that is that they build a monster controlling them, which is that castle.
Yeah, it's a lot of empty space in there.
Yeah.
Your book is called Finding Malibu. Now, Malibu is a city.
It's I'm not sure. It's a place.
It's a place,
but I'm not sure if it belongs to Los Angeles or if
it's just a part of Greater Los Angeles.
Yeah, maybe. I remember when I figured it out about 6 months ago that the book was going to be called Finding Malibu. This clarity came in a kind of flash of insight that, okay, I need to tell my story, because I had kind of pulled away my story when I came to a place in my life where I could finally be free and function in life without being on this spiritual intense journey. I just kind of threw away my old story just to be here and now.
Yeah.
Without talking too much about it. So the realization when I had the flash of insight that, okay, I need to tell this story, was that, yeah, I actually need to respect my story. I need to own it, and I need to share it, because this is valuable information. It is valuable for other people. And I also realized then, okay, it's going to be called Finding Malibu, and I don't know why. And the reason is that I need to go back to California to experience and to realize what is actually the ending of the book. So when I was in that experience, I was actually a bit conscious that, okay, I don't want to do any research or any kind of, I don't want to do outer research on what Malibu means or what it is or anything more than that. My relationship to Malibu until that point has been that I've been driving through there for a few times on the on the road. Is it US 1 or US 1? I don't remember.
Yeah, but there's like a coastal road.
And we did stop there. I was there in 2017 with my girlfriend. We stopped at the pier and went there to just see Malibu in that way. But I have actually no other kind of ideas about Malibu other than that I've realized that it's bigger and that's a lot of people living there. There's more than the road and the pier. But I have been kind of conscious not to do anything about it until I'm going for the journey. But I had one thing that I did a few weeks ago because I had forgotten about this conscious decision that I'm not going to do research. So I Googled the meaning of Malibu, just as spontaneous idea that, okay, I need to figure out what it means. I don't remember, but it had something to do with, there is actually a surfboard called Malibu that has a specific shape or something. That's all I figured out. So yeah, right now I have no idea, and I'm just excited to figure out what it will mean in a deeper sense, and also, yeah.
But I think the answer is right in front of you, because, like you said, your intuition will not give you like a elaborate explanation as to why you need to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
But what you have to do is trust.
Good point.
And so this shows up. You trust it. It will lead you on an adventure like one you've never had before, and will give you everything you need. Now, whereas if you're like, oh, why Malibu? Oh, I need to figure that out.
Yeah.
Then you're starting to make all these limits to
and you miss
what
out
it can be.
The whole experience. Yeah. So yeah, and this is exactly what the book is about in a way. That trusting that inner knowing and let your story reveal in front of you without trying to make sense of it until you live it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I think one thing that came to mind when you talked about like how you put this behind you is this the concept of the hero's journey. Joseph Campbell's and all that stuff is, so the hero goes out into the unknown and he collects a treasure. Now, what does he do with the treasure? Does he leave it, or does he stay with the treasure? No, he takes the treasure back home and shares it with his others, with his village.
Yeah.
So what you're doing with this book, or even with this podcast, is sharing your treasure with the rest of your village.
Yeah.
Now that's the most important part of the hero's journey. Because
True.
if you stop your journey at, oh, I found the treasure, it's all mine, then you're Gollum.
Yeah. That's a good point.
And you don't want to be Gollum because, as you can see, it corrupts.
Yeah.
And you think you're special, and you are special. You're one of a kind, and your journey is super important. But if you don't share it with the rest of the world,
yeah, it becomes
the journey will become sort of, it will come to a halt. And you haven't fulfilled your potential, which is to raise the consciousness of the entire place, not just yourself.
And I think what happened now is that, because in a couple of years ago, I came to this place where I felt complete, in a sense that, not in the sense that I was thinking, okay, now I'm enlightened, I don't need to do anything more. Not in that sense, but in the sense that I'm finally at a place in my life where I just enjoy being here. Like, I love being here, and that's enough in a sense. So when I look back at what has happened, I feel that, okay, it took a couple of years to just land in that. Like I love being here. There's someone remote controlling the computer here, so we just got a little sidetracked. But yeah, so what I was saying is that I had to spend a couple of years or so to just land and integrate and be okay with that. Like, I'm here, and that's enough. And this summer I was going through a new process where it was a different phases, but it was partly a realization that, wow, I've lost my sensitivity to life because I've become this person who I'm just here. And not in a bad way necessarily, but through that experience, there was a new rising, which is like, okay, it was this feeling that spirit, now it's time again. Spirit is calling. It's time to take the next step. And I feel that was the beginning of this process now, that, okay, there is more to the story than just coming to a place where what I mean is, like, if I hadn't said yes to the new invitation, I would have become Gollum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I would just protect what I had without realizing there is more. I need to fulfill the cycle. I need to also give this back, and I need to go through the next phase of realizing whatever new initiation or new journey that is ahead of me.
Yeah, because along your path there will come invitations for growth.
Yeah.
And like just now, your invitation is to share your insights, your past journey, so that other people can see that your truth actually has value for you, thus also has value for the rest of us.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Yeah, it is. And I feel now I realize that this journey now is going to be completely different. But I don't know how.
And you don't need to know. And I think that's, like, we are so caught up in the idea that we have to know what's happening.
Yeah.
But all we have to know is like the next step.
Yeah, exactly.
And then everything else will line up perfectly. It might hurt a little, but you have to trust it.
But it's that interesting sensation when you get like small sensations of intuition telling you things without being complete, in the sense because it's not an explanation. It's not like, okay, this is the formula, do this. It's just like it tells you something, a sensation of what the story is about now. And it's kind of your job not to start thinking about that, what it means, because then you, at least not in the sense taking you too far to try to figure it out. Like I just mentioned in the Norwegian episode, this sense of feeling now that this part of the journey is not about me in the same sense. It's still about me and my journey and being present and going through my experiences. But the phase now is not just about me in the same sense. And I think part of that is also sharing and telling the story. But more than that, I have no idea what it means. It's just that's the sensation or whatever, what else I should call it.
Yeah, but I think that's more than enough.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Because we always tend to want to know the whole story before we...
Yeah, it doesn't work.
That's a horrible idea.
Yeah.
I was wondering, when will this book be finished? When can I read this book of yours, Finding Malibu?
Okay, so you can read things. You can read some chapters. Actually, not today, but in the coming weeks, because I will release some kind of tastes of it.
Where will you do this?
At findingmalibu.com.
Okay.
Yes. And my deadline for the book, for me to finish the book, is November 10th this year, 2019. But yeah, what I'm also doing right now is I'm putting up a Patreon page.
Patreon, that's a good idea.
So it's probably released when this podcast episode is out.
So probably it's released this time. Yes.
So, and that's exciting because I just love this new way of doing things. I haven't done it before, so I have no idea how it will work, but I love the idea that I can be me and share my experiences, my insights, my stories that I've come to realize that actually inspires people. It's cool to also know that, because I didn't used to believe that was possible. But so through this Patreon page, I mean, Patreon is a place where you can be a supporter of people you believe in doing their creative work, whatever that is. So you can contribute with a small or big amount of money.
It's like a monthly subscription.
Yeah. It can be monthly or it can be per creation of whatever you create.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm doing is a monthly subscription. So you can support my work on a monthly basis with the amount you wish to put in. And there are different levels because this is kind of a membership in that sense. So there are different levels of this. And what I'm doing so far is I will create videos every month that is about the creative process of the book. So you get some insights in how I work with the book, what I'm doing, these kind of things. And
behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. And there is this, like the chapters I mentioned, that you can get some tastes during the process of different sections of the book. And what I'm also starting during April is this weekly webinar where you can come join people that are on the same page as you, that want to work on themselves, realizing their own story, their own potential. And this group dynamic of meeting in a webinar and doing a group meditation and these different things, it's so powerful because it's just a catalyst on a totally different level than just working on your own. So but it's a new project. I haven't done it more than one test project. So I'm not sure exactly how it will be, but I'm just so excited to put it into the world because I have a really good feeling about it.
That sounds great. And this is a truly great project, and I hope a lot of people will give your support.
Yeah.
And I am so looking forward to reading this book.
Yeah, me too. So I'm so, for anyone who wants to support my work or wants to be part of the project, and I'm just so grateful to be able to. I'm grateful to be part of it, and I'm looking forward to the process. And I mentioned the webpage, findingmalibu.com. That is also right now the link to the Patreon page. So that's where you can find everything. I'm also doing, during the whole trip, I will also make live videos on Facebook and Instagram, which will be for free. So you have the opportunity to contribute and to follow me in any way you wish. So that's amazing.
Wow. California.
Oh yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Is there more to this podcast episode?
No, it's
over.
It's over, and you'll be leaving in a couple of days, and
yeah, it's amazing.
Best of luck on your journey.
Thank you. I'm so ready to go now, and looking forward to the loss. Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
It is.
It already is. Nice.
You've been listening to the Infinite Podcast with
Ulf Tønneflytter
and me, Øystein Rabbe.
Thank you so much for listening, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify.
Yeah. And or on Facebook or
follow us on Facebook.
Yeah.
And also we've now made a Patreon account.
Yes.
So if you like this podcast and would like to support us, go to Patreon and check out our Infinite Podcast site there. Your support would really appreciate it.
It's possible for us to make more podcasts. It takes a lot of time. We enjoy it so much to do it, but we also have regular jobs to pay the bills, and our dream is to be able to do this full time.
Yeah, this is our full time. This will be our full time.
Baby steps towards that dream, and we want to make more episodes and continue to share it with you. So that would be great. Actually, I realized when we talk about it, we haven't even explained what Patreon actually is. So
it's like a support site where you can support a business or
artist or
an artist or whatever
creator that makes something
with I guess like monthly donations. Could be like from $1 and upwards.
Yeah.
Right? So anything would be great. We would be so thankful. And you would be thankful because we're doing this for you.
Yeah. And it actually gives it's a good feeling sometimes to actually help the things you care about. So if you're listening to us and you care about us, but I mean seriously, it's a good thing to contribute to the things that matters to you. So
that will
we're
help
not
them grow.
asking you to pay unless you actually want to see this podcast grow and unfold into what it's about to become.
Infinite greatness.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.